The third chapter in IB Chemistry will be periodicity. We'll be discussing periodic table and the trend of the elements in the periodic table. The first part that they will have to discuss with their students will be about the periodic table. This is very simple. You only need to teach them the order, how are the elements in the periodic table ordered, and then you can talk about the group. What are the similarities between elements in the group? What are the similarities between element in the period, and so on. Okay. The second part, physical properties, 3.2. This is where you're going to be talking about the trends in the elements. Okay. Mainly there will be three groups of elements in the periodic table that the trends you're going to be talking about. That is group 1, group 7, and across period 3. Okay, so group 1, group 7, and across period 3. And there will be 5 physical properties that you're going to be discussing with your students. Okay, you're going to talk about the atomic and ionic radii. Okay, so how they change down the group across the period and why. Okay, and you're going to be talking about first ionization energy. Okay, electronegativity, and melting point. Okay, we know that melting points usually is linked to the type of bonds in the elements or in the group or across the period. So we may have to link or give a preview to the students about bonding a little, just to explain about the melting point. Some schools will actually do chapter 4 first, bonding, before periodic table. So if your students have already done chapter 4, then you can just refresh their memories. Okay. So in this, you're just going to talk about the whole periodic table and how they will change and why. Okay, so mainly you're going to be touching about 2 concepts. Okay, nuclear charge, shielding effect, and effective nuclear charge. Okay. Also some refresher on the energy levels and the sub-levels from from chapter 2 will be required. Okay, because like for example, you need to be explaining to them about the relative distance between the s and p orbitals and how it's easier to remove from p than s because p is further away from the nucleus and so on. Okay, the last part for the SL will be regarding the chemical properties. This is chemical properties of the elements in the same group. Okay, so like stuff about reactivity, mainly reactivity. So group 1 and group 7 across down the group, whether they are becoming more reactive or less reactive and why. Okay, and then another thing that we're going to talk about here is the nature of oxides across period 3. Okay, so for this one, we have already provided the tables in the notes. You can just briefly explain to your students, mention to them about the different types of oxides, and they can just from there refer to the table in the notes and memorize them for tests or exams.